So you saw Worlds today, and now you're thinking to yourself, how can I use this information for my own benefit? How can I get better at my own game using what I just saw from Worlds? Now, that's a question that I'm going to be answering. I'm going to try to make a video like this every day after Worlds and translate what we see from the competitive play to something that is easier to apply in a more casual solo queue environment. Now, let's break down each game, and it's going to be anything from a small niche pick in the current meta to simple tips and tricks or a more broad topic. So it's really just going to cover a wide array of things, and hopefully they help you become a better player. So let's get to it. Fnatic versus IG. There's two things that I think are particularly interesting about this that are pretty easy to apply in your solo queue game. So if you see a lane that you don't trust, somebody is filling in a role that they don't like, and they're against a champion that can snowball really hard off them, so you don't trust your mid laner and he's against a Zed kind of thing, or you don't trust your top laner and he's against a Riven, the example that we just saw, pick Shen. Same thing with other lanes, by the way. Shen for the bottom lane, Shen for the mid lane. Just pick Shen. The reason being is that once you hit level 6, they're not going to be able to die that much. In fact, you're probably going to be able to teleport up to that lane and get a solo kill in it. Now, what that means isn't necessarily pick Shen, but it can also translate into globals. So global picks are very good at shutting down lanes that you think are going to die a lot. And things like Twisted Fate, Nocturne can really shut down somebody that's looking to get advantages through a 1v1. So lots of assassins, lots of bruisers really want to do that, and global shut that down. That's what Fnatic did with their Shen support pick versus the Riven, and it's something that you can do in your own games. The other one, which is a bit more of a coordinated example, is that you can win lanes flat out by just having stronger lanes, stronger junglers, and just pushing 24/7, which is how Fnatic won. So the team compositions was Fnatic had Hecarim, Elise, Azir, Sivir, and Shen versus IG's Riven, Skarner, Victor, Ashe, and Thresh. Every single lane from Fnatic can permanently push the other guy in and gets the ability to roam first, which frees up the jungler to do whatever they want, and frees you, as a laner, to just back off and go roam or have an earlier recall. So that gives you the first move. It always gives you the first move, and that usually results in the first tower. And it's something that sounds a lot more coordinated, but it really doesn't have to be, just because of chip damage and turrets. And picking compositions with high push potential, pushing, I mean, you can just push away as fast as your opponent, can result in that, and it's really effective because a lot of times your opponents are not going to be able to last hit well under turret, while you can, since you have abilities that just spam push, so you can just get CS leads like that. The next game was AHQ versus Cloud9, and that was more on the topic of Waveclear again, but also an engage. So first thing, be very careful if you pick compositions that have literally no Waveclear. Fizz does not count, and Kalista does not count. Same thing with Darius. That is no wave clear whatsoever. And if you're going to have no wave clear, there's only one way that you can pull that off, and that is if you have engage that is non-reliant on ultimates. So you need to be able to engage at any time, because they're going to try to siege on you and abuse your non-wave clear ability, and you're not going to be able to defend any tower, be it against one person, two people, three people, an entire team. You don't have wave clear, and you don't have non-ultimate engage. If you fuck up once, you're doomed, and that's what happened. AHQ had Rengar. Rengar has a very long cooldown on the engage, especially early on, and if you start fucking those up and you can't get going, then the game's just lost, because people are going to clump around your towers because of how slowly you kill your creep waves, and then you're just going to lose towers non-stop. And it can happen to just one champion. If one champion is pushing you, but you have an ultimate reliant engage, and you have no other tools of getting a fight started, then it's going to be really hard to get the fight going, and you're most likely going to lose a lot of turrets with you just standing in the tower and watching. The other game, a bit more of a broad topic, was SKT versus H2K. And the cool thing about that game is that it really shows you that you can just win games by having more intelligent wave control and objective control. So getting to objectives first is a really easy way of winning games, as well as managing the waves better and allocating yourself to them in terms of both pushing and defending can really net you some really cool advantages, such as getting free towers, getting free dragons and barons. And the example that happened in that game was a lot of pushing from 8 SKT that wasn't answered, but more importantly, just after a dragon fight, everybody recalled and they just went straight to Baron. That's it. Just immediately, okay, straight to Baron. We don't care. We're just going to do it right now because we know that you're not going to come out there. So having that boldness is something that can help you out a lot in solo queue. You just show up to the Baron. Chances are it's not going to be warded, and do it. Just being coordinated and bold calls can really take your games to the next level. And that's something that is really cool to see, be it in solo queue or competitive. It's something that boldness, confidence, everybody loves it. Then the one that follows, EDG versus SKT, already made a video about this afterwards, about the composition, which was a primarily physical damage comp, but had Skarner, had Darius, and Gangplank, good sources of magic and true damage, as well as you can't itemize armor against Skarner because you need the QSS kind of thing. But you should just watch that video instead. But the point of it is that there are exceptions to every single rule. What that means is that all these videos that I make, all these videos that you see, tips, tricks, all that kind of stuff, there's exceptions to them. Don't take them fully to heart, and try to think for yourself and really understand how you can work around it and how you can exploit weaknesses or little holes in whatever strategies you're given that other people might not see. That's really important, just having that creativity and that extra edge to really want to see the whole picture for yourself and try to innovate. That's really cool and something that can work very well. Just have that certain confidence and the boldness to trust in what you think is right. And if it works, it works. And don't pay attention to all those rules. Use them as guidelines, but go above and beyond. There's 2 games left, COG versus Flash Wolves. And this is more of a champion-oriented thing regarding Lulu. Now, this game basically shows you that you can just flat out win games by team composition, and that's kind of what happened in the COG Flash Wolves game. Obviously not entirely. There's misplays here, outplays here, good skill shots, all that stuff. But the gist of this video, at least, is that team compositions matter. And for solo queue right now, what I just recommend for you, Lulu is very good. Lulu is a champion that is basically free though. Now, a lot of people complain about Soraka. It's like, oh, I hate Soraka, the ambulance. Oh, she's just healing all my lanes and I just can't stand it. I can never seem to kill anybody. Well, if you actually notice how much Soraka heals and how much Lulu shields, then they're very similar champions actually, except one of them can very much carry and kill you. So Lulu is a really strong pick in solo queue because people are not going to be coordinated enough to actually put all the resources into one person, or more importantly, CC the shit out of Lulu and kill her first. Just how you have to kill Soraka first, killing Lulu first is often a good solution to the champion. She's very strong, and I highly recommend that if you're playing top lane, mid lane, or maybe even support, preferably top and mid, you pick up this champion and really experience it for yourself because she can be so disrupted with her whimsy, with a well-timed ultimate, the glitter lance, all this stuff, the shielding. She's a really solid pick. That's why we see the 100% pick and ban rate today. We'll probably see a consistent number throughout the tournament. But she's very easy, has a high skill cap, so you can be really good at her and be amazing at the champion and be even more effective. But if you're not very good and if you're feeding a lot, hell, you pick Lulu, you're still going to be super useful. If you got one person on your team that has any clue what they're doing, Lulu's going to make that guy a god. And the final game, something that touches a little closer to home, Pain versus Coup Tigers. The level 1 was clearly lost by Coup. They lost 2-1, and they came back with it. So it just shows you that losing the level 1 is not the end of the world. You can give them some kills and still make a comeback. And giving up at that time isn't, it's not right. You can always come back into the game. And the game also showed you an example of just how to do that, how to actively get your win, not wait for the opponent's mistake. You go out there and you find yourself the opportunities. That's what the Thresh and the Lee Sin did. They went left, right, and center and created opportunities for themselves, moving around the map, finding places to exploit, and even if the places weren't there, then they would use the resources from the entire team to create the pick by the Ashe Arrow, by the Ahri's ability to pick, by Nar's TP and ultimate. So there's a lot of ways to get the win for yourself. And that's ever so satisfying. Being in a deficit and then just saying, you know what, I think I know what I need to do to win, and then just doing that. That's a really good game for you to watch, especially if you're a jungler, a support, or especially if you duo with a jungler, or if you're a support, if you're a support that duos with a jungler. Really cool. I guarantee that is one of the best combos for solo queue, by the way. If you duo with a support or a jungle support duo queue, is really effective if the enemy team really doesn't understand what's going on, because of how much pressure you can put on the map and how many people you can affect. You can affect everybody and kill everybody and carry from those two positions super easy. So I hope this was somewhat helpful. If it wasn't, then I won't be making more. But if it was, I'll surely continue. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.